Hey everyone, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. I just watched an Empress Radio video, a couple of them actually, and she stated that Kenya Moore from Real Housewives of Atlanta exposed that Martel hit up her DMs before he started dating Sheree. And this is not surprising to me because I stated last year that Martel seems like a clout chaser. I said that Martel does not want to move on from Melody. He wants to replace Melody with someone of equal or greater social status or financial status than her. And this is one of the reasons why I said that Martel refuses to even acknowledge or claim Arion publicly, because he sees her as a downgrade. And because Arion is so committed to the idea of who she thinks Martel is, instead of the reality of the situation, she will continue to allow herself to be disrespected until Martel gets rid of her or until she gets tired of the abuse, okay? So last year I said that Martel is ashamed of Arion, and that's why he called her peasant in season 1, okay? He didn't call her a peasant because that's what Melody wanted him to say, which is what he said. He called her a peasant because that's honestly the way that he feels about her. And she still had a baby by him after that, to prove to herself that Martel loved her as much as he acted like he loved Melody. So I can understand why Arion was delusional enough to think that Martel loved her, because Martel disrespected the hell out of Melody, and he allowed Arion to disrespect Melody too. And because Arion is very insecure, she was happy to disrespect Melody on behalf of Martel. Now she's out here posting pictures of herself in Martel's bed right before the season begins. And on the very first episode or the second episode, he's like, he doesn't want to commit to anybody right now, but she's still in his bed after 10 years of disrespect and abuse. Okay. So I also said that Martel would only claim Arion if it was socially or financially beneficial to him, or he can use her to make money to rebuild his brand. Okay. Empress Radio posted a video saying that Martel is trying to make Arion get her builder's license, which is not surprising to me because last year I also stated that Martel would try to turn any woman he ends up with into Melody 2.0. He was grooming Arion for the position, but Arion is a bit too unstable to fill her shoes. Martel's looking for Melody's replacement, not true love. So Martel loves the idea of who Melody is more than he loves her as a person. He loved having the beautiful, ambitious, intelligent trophy wife to hide his flaws and insecurities, and Arion can't do that right now. Arion makes Martel look undisciplined, foolish, wicked, and unaccomplished, and so he doesn't feel comfortable claiming her publicly. So even if Arion leveled up, right, Martel will always resent her for the demise of his marriage, even though it was primarily his fault. Okay, it was 95% his fault because he started the affair, he continued the affair, and he got her pregnant more than one time. So it's his fault, right? On another side note, quickly, Empress Radio also discussed Martel and Melody's custody case, and apparently Martel blames Melody for ruining his brand or his business opportunities because she put his affair on TV or on social media. And so if Martel blames Melody for exposing his indiscretions and his bad behavior, how do you think he feels about Arion, who actually produced evidence of why Melody was justified for leaving him in the first place, right? Melody left Martel within 3 months of having her 4th child by Martel because Martel basically revealed to her that he had no intention of doing better. He just wanted to hide his cheating better, basically. He wanted to do wrong better, which is what Melody said. And so Melody left, right? And so, yeah, Martel still blames Melody and Arion for his actions. He was the one who was controlling both Melody and Arion. And now that his whole world has collapsed, instead of taking accountability for his actions, he will try to punish Melody financially and emotionally by trying to get primary custody and child support for the 4 children. So Empress Radio said that Martel wanted full custody and child support. And this is on brand for Martel because he thinks that he should be rewarded for destroying his family and destabilizing the lives of his children, who he claims to love so much. Martell loves his children so much that he allowed his mistress to disrespect their mother. He gave his mistress money that could have gone into their trust funds. He created another baby that they'll have to share their inheritance with. He invited an emotionally disturbed, mentally ill woman into their lives. That's how much Martell loves his children. Martell loves his children so much, Judge, whoever this judge was, that was trying to make it seem as if Melody was being a bad mother by cutting off Martell for 30 days. Just to go back real quickly, when the divorce was first finalized, didn't Melody say that Martell did not adhere to the custody arrangement, that he didn't see the kids for months and Melody had to take care of all the bills because Martell was too ashamed of his brokenness to take the kids when he was supposed to? And now Martell is mad about 30 days where Melody was trying to protect her peace and her sanity because Martell was hell-bent on giving her a hard time. The 30 days was too much, but the several months after the divorce where Martell did not spend time with his kids while his pregnant mistress was walking around, that wasn't too much. Melody, if she was a vindictive, spiteful person, she would have asked for full custody then, because Martell was not adhering to the custody agreement. But Melody was being merciful and gracious towards Martell because he had a hard time dealing with the divorce that he caused. But when Melody said, you know what, I need to cut Martell off for 30 days because he's doing too much. He's stressing me out. I can't be fully present for my children because this man is still abusing me. He's still attacking me. He's still harassing me. He's still all these things. Martell's like, oh, now she's a bad mother. She's an unfit mother. I deserve full custody because she didn't let me see them for 30 days. But when Martell didn't see his children for months after the divorce, Melody let that slide. She gave him a lot of chances. She forgave him a whole lot. Martell is just bitter. He's bitter because Melody revealed that the Emperor was wearing no clothes. Okay? Emperor Martell, King Martell, businessman Martell, husband Martell, that was a fraud. That wasn't really what it was. I'm not saying that Martell didn't help Melody with their businesses, but he was not who he presented himself to be. He didn't even believe it. And that's what makes it even more painful for Martell. So Martell is furious with Melody. And it's not only because she left him, it's because she exposed him as a fraud, okay? He wasn't a good husband. He wasn't a good businessman. He wasn't father of the year, cheating for half his marriage. All of the cover that Melody gave him was pulled away when she divorced him. And this left him exposed and half naked in a bathtub with rose petals because he doesn't have a builder's license. So Martell blames Melody for exposing him more than he blames himself for doing something that he didn't want exposed in the first place. And that's why I said that fake ass apology, peace, and reconciliation stunt he pulled last year for several months was to manipulate Melody into trusting him again. Unfortunately for Martell, Melody has the show to protect her from being gaslit again. I honestly think that without the Love Marriage Huntsville show, Martell could have squeezed a couple more years out of Melody because Martell is a gaslighter. He would have used Melody's emotions and her desire to keep her family together to convince her that he loved her, that he was going to change, that he didn't care about Arion like that. And I'm not saying that Melody would have never left, but I'm saying that the show accelerated the process, which is why after season 2, Martell was like, why did I agree to do this show? Martell blamed the show, he blamed Melody, and he blamed Arionne for his life falling apart, right? And because of the show, it was harder for Martell to downplay his cheating because Love Marriage Huntsville pretty much documented the lies, the disrespect, the manipulation, and the contradictions he told Melody from the very first episode, from episode 1. And I have an honest question. This is another segue. This is segue number 3. This is sidebar number 3. I'm going to get back to my main point. Just give me a minute, right? I have an honest question. How was Martell able to graduate college with a teaching degree, which is very writing and reading intensive, but he can't pass an open book test in a profession that he's worked in for a decade? I was hearing rumors back in the day when the show first started that Melody actually helped Martell to graduate by doing some of his schoolwork for him. Now, I'm not saying that it's true, but I damn sure would not be surprised. And, you know, it goes to show how fucked up Martell is, because if it weren't for Melody, Martell would not have graduated college. He would not have become this so-called reputable businessman and this husband of the year. And I'm not saying that Martell did nothing for their companies, but Melody was truly the brains in the situation, And, Martel repaid her by punishing her for the things that attracted him to her in the first place. So if Arion gets her builder's license from Martel, Martel will more than likely use her builder's license to earn money so that he can trick off for the woman that he really wants to be with, especially if he recovers himself financially and professionally. But I honestly think that Martel underestimates what it takes to run a business, because he spent 5 years playing hooky with his mistress during office hours, just like he played hooky when he was in college and he needed, other people to do his work for him. Now, Martel is a typical jock. Most of them do that. Most athletes or professional athletes or college athletes, they have people do their work for them. So it's not that's not a big deal per se. But now I understand why Martel told Melanika that he needs a woman to believe in him more than he believes in himself. Doesn't Arion believe in Martel more than he believes in himself? Right? He doesn't respect her though. He wants a woman of esteem and power to give him the respect that he feels entitled to. Martel feels entitled to respect because of how he looks on paper, right? He feels entitled to it. He doesn't think he has to earn it and maintain it. No, you're going to respect me regardless of how shitty I am as a person. He told his uncle this. He told Melody this. He always demands respect. He feels entitled to it, not understanding that respect is earned, not given. But throughout his life, because Martel was an athlete, he was attractive, he got respect just for showing up. Oh, you the man, right? I'll do your homework for you. I'll sleep with you. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to prove anything to me. Just show up. Okay? And that is what Martel is still expecting at his big age, and it's not going to work anymore. Because now in the world of professionals, in the world of people who are successful, you have to show and prove why you're here. Why are you in the room with entrepreneurs? Why are you in the room with captains of industry, with financiers, bankers, real estate agents? Why are you here? And Martel felt like he was out of place because he didn't really work to get to that point. He didn't do his schoolwork. He didn't get his builder's license. He just piggybacked off his wife. And so when it came time for Melody to upgrade her life, Martel was, he was there for the ride, but he felt out of place. He had imposter syndrome. And so what he did was he sabotaged himself with his relationship with Arion. That was the point, right? So once Martel gets the woman, to believe in him, and she helps him to get to the top, per se, he resents the power that she has over him, because he wants a strong woman, because only a strong woman will be able to pull someone like Martel up. Martel's like a dead weight. Okay, he has low self-esteem. He has, discipline issues. He's not dumb, but he's not the most studious person. So a strong, ambitious, intelligent woman would have to lift Martel up. But then Martel ends up resenting that woman's strength, and then he tries to sabotage her behind her back, right? So it's like, I need this woman to help me get to the top, but once I get up there, because I'm a man and I'm a chauvinist and women have their place, women should stay in their place, I'm going to push her off the top and act like I did it by myself. That's what Martel was trying to do with Melody by saying she wasn't a good mother. He was the reason why they were successful. It was all his idea. He was trying to take credit for all the work that Melody had done that he was able to enjoy without putting in the same amount of work that Melody was putting in. He was cheating for 5 years, right? He cheated for 5 years of his marriage. What was Melody doing while he was cheating? She was working. She was carrying the marriage and the businesses on her back by herself, because Martel had checked out 5 years earlier. Okay? The pressure was too much for him. He felt like he didn't belong in those spaces. And Melody wanted more and more success because she was like, this is where I belong. I belong at the top. And Martel, he felt like he belonged there too, but on a deeper level, he knew he didn't deserve to be there. So I want to be respected and revered and honored, right? And, and celebrated. But I know deep inside that this is not who I truly am. I don't really belong here. I didn't work for this. My wife did this. I didn't graduate college because of my own studiousness and hard work. People helped me out, right? So I need someone that's stronger than me to lift me up. And then when I get to the top, I'm going to resent that person and push them off because I want all the credit for myself, for my ego. Okay? So yeah, Martel will end up abusing any woman who helps him because he resents the fact that he needed a woman to help him up. And so to assert his masculinity and his dominance, he'll start to abuse her. That's all. I'm the man here. You got to submit to me. You're not satisfying me. You're not good enough for me. Even though I used you to get to the top, now you're not good enough for me anymore. Okay? One more side note. Someone told me that in the comment section that Tisha is not the majority owner of Skult, and her owning 85% is just a storyline. And I'm not really surprised about that, because if Marcel's a true chauvinist, he would not be allowing a woman to control anything except the bedroom, the kids, and the kitchen. So Tisha owning 85% to me sounds incredulous, unless Marcel was having some financial issues. On top of that, Marcel has his builder's license, so it would make sense for him to own the company just like Melody owned Holt Custom Homes. Why are people making up fake ass storylines for the show? Like, it's not that serious. It really is not serious, Tisha. It's not. Does Tisha want to be seen as a successful businesswoman to the point where she'll lie about owning a percentage of Scolt? Like, that's not necessary. That's your husband's business, and that's it. Anyway, back to Sheree and Kenya. I saw the Real Housewives of Atlanta preview, and apparently Kenya confronts Martel because she knows he's a manipulative liar and an opportunist. But I think Sheree is so desperate for a man, she'll put up with anything, especially if he's attractive. Martel doesn't mind being passed around like a blunt, because like the somatic narcissist that he is, he wants to be loved and worshipped for the way he looks and his sex game, not because he has anything substantial to offer besides being a bald-headed dildo. Like many women, Sheree doesn't care about how Martel treats other women as long as he looks good and doesn't do her dirty, right? Like the SOS song goes, I don't care about those other girls, just be good to me. That's Sheree's theme song for Martel. And it's Arionne's song too. So many women are okay with their man dogging on other women as long as he treats her better. And it always backfires. Always. Okay? So yeah, like many women, Sheree does not care about how Martel treats other women as long as he looks good and doesn't do her dirty. But Martel is just using Sheree just like he used Melody. And I hope she knows this. I think she knows this. But once women with a lot of money or security get a certain age, they just want company. And, when a lot of people are younger, they focus on their finances. And when they get older and they have the finances, they want to now have the company to share their finances and their security with. So yeah, I honestly wonder how Sheree felt when she watched Love and Marriage Huntsville and the way that Martel disrespected the fuck out of Melody. Like, that should have been a huge, glaring red flag that a man would treat the mother of his 4 children like that. That's insane to me. Sheree better not fall in love with this guy. I don't think she will. I think she's older than him. So she sees him as a dildo, which is, appropriate for Martel. I do remember a scene where Sheree was crying about experiencing abuse and disrespect in her own marriage. So I wonder if Martel triggered her, like watching that show turned her off him. Did she watch the show before she dated him? Or did she just see like the clips and the previews and, oh, Martel's so handsome and Martel's so this, and I get it. He's an attractive guy, but his level of desirability for me and many women is at 0 or -1 or something like that because of the way he treated Melody. That's insane. How could you do somebody who loves you that dirty? He did her dirty on every level. Every level. And instead of bowing out graciously to save what was left of his brand, instead of letting the marriage go and co-parenting peacefully with Melody and moving forward, he decided to double down, harass Melody, stalk her, try to sabotage her relationships, try to ruin her brand. Like, he wanted to destroy her the way that he felt like she destroyed him. But again, Melody would not have exposed Martel's affair if there was nothing to expose. She mentioned this in season 1. Like, if you don't want people talking about your business, then make sure you don't have any business to talk about. I'm not the problem here. Martel wanted Melody to protect his image and his secrets, but he couldn't even protect her from his mistress. You want your wife and the mother of your children to protect your public reputation, but you can't even protect her from the woman that you are cheating on her with. That's entitlement. That's arrogance. That's narcissism. Okay? And yes, Dr. Francis said that he doesn't think Martel has NPD. Dr. Francis is not allowed to disclose an official diagnosis about his patient. So he's smart for not admitting that Martel has NPD, whether he does or not. I think he does. If I was a therapist, I'd say the same thing. No, nothing wrong with him. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with Martel. I say the same thing because you have to protect your clients. I get that, right? You don't want to breach HIPAA. You don't want to lose your license. I get that. So that's fine. But Martel, in my opinion, has NPD. And I'm not saying it jokingly. We saw the way he treated Melody. Okay? I'm not saying that Martel's a narcissist because that's what everybody else is saying now. I've been saying this from the beginning. I think that he has a real personality disorder. You cannot do to Melody what Martell did and not have something wrong with your brain. You cannot destroy your marriage and your family and your businesses and then be upset with the other person for having the audacity to leave an abusive relationship. You can't do that and be sane. There's something wrong with you if you actually believe that it's your wife's fault for leaving you after you got somebody else pregnant. There's something wrong with your brain. There's something wrong with your brain if you think you should get full custody and child support because your wife has to work hard to take care of the kids that you gave her, that you put in her body, right? And now she's a single mother, so she has to work extra hard. She has to bust her ass. She may need more than 2 or 3 babysitters because she's constantly trying to build her empire and to regain what she lost in the divorce that you caused, Martell. So I'm not saying that Sheree should hate Martell, but no man is fine enough for me to ignore the glaring red flags that are on camera, okay? Like, a lot of women can say, well, I didn't know that this man was evil like that. I didn't see the way he treated his ex. He told me something different, right? We don't have the Carfax for a lot of men that we date. But there's a whole documentary called Surviving Martell, aka Love and Marriage Huntsville, okay? This is Surviving Martell, right? And so Sheree has watched from season 1, hopefully. She's seen from season 1 how Martell manipulated, deceived, gaslit, abused, and attacked Melody and felt no way about it. He told Dr. Francis, I would not do anything differently as his entire world is collapsing around him. He would do nothing differently until he has to suffer the consequence of his actions. Now Melody has to suffer because he's suffering. You're going to make your ex-wife suffer because you're suffering because of something you did. That is NPD. It is not narcissism as far as like the personality trait. It's the personality disorder, okay? I refuse to take accountability for my actions to the extent that I'm going to sue you for full custody and child support, and I'm going to make a list of demands about who you're dating, your personal Wi-Fi information, phone numbers. All he wants access to her whole life. He wants to monitor and track and stalk her as if she's still his property. As if she's still his property. So Martell refuses to let go of the woman who wasn't satisfying him. Okay? Martell made it his business to abuse Melody. He went out of his way to disrespect her by getting Arion pregnant more than once. He did it on purpose. He did it on purpose. He did it on purpose. He purposely disrespected Melody because he was mad at her for exposing him, for making him feel like less than a man. That wasn't her fault. That's on him. But he was very angry with her and he abused her during the marriage. And so now he feels entitled to abuse her after the marriage is over. I want access to your phone numbers, Wi-Fi passwords, credit card information, all your financial records, everything. I want your whole life exposed in front of me, even though I had an affair behind your back for 2 years. I had a whole secret life going on, a whole girlfriend behind your fucking back, using your money to take care of somebody else. But now I want access to your money. I want to know all your business. And I'm going to use the children to justify that. I don't want any man around my kids. I'm trying to protect my kids from all these strange men. And that is a legitimate concern that most fathers have. Most parents have that, right? But you should have thought about that before you brought Arion around, number 1, because Melody says in season 2, you had this lady around my kids. You had a mentally unstable, jealous woman around your 4 children. But now you want to protect them, right? Now you feel entitled to child support from a woman who you tried to destroy. So Melody, she was able to bounce back, get her paper together. Now she has money from her courses, from her product lines, from her sponsorship. She's making money constantly. She's doing what she was doing when she was married to Martell. And now Martell still feels entitled to that because guess what? Without him, she would have no brand. If it wasn't for her using the show to destroy me to build her brand, because Arion said this. Arion said that Melody was using the show to boost her brand and sacrifice Martell in the process. That's what Arion said. And some other idiot said the same thing. Right? Never mind the 4th baby when Melody tried to work things out with her husband. No. Arion said, and Martell probably told her too, that Melody is sacrificing me for success. And that wasn't the case. Melody wanted to bring Martell with her. Melody said, I don't mind carrying you, but I'm not going to carry you and Arion the fuck out of here. I'm not going to level up so that you can level up your mistress, because Arion was pretty much a parasite. She was eating off of Melody's hard work, and Martell was giving Melody's, her energy to Arion by giving her money. How dare you use your wife's hard-earned money to trick off on someone you don't even want to be with, you don't even respect? Martell literally disrespected Melody at every level. I keep saying this, but I feel like I have to say it more than once, because Martell's still trying to do the same thing. He's still attacking Melody. He's still blaming Melody for what happened to him, for what he did to himself. You're going to go to court asking for money? How dare you ask for money from a woman you tried to destroy, who's taking care of your 4 children, didn't put him on child support, didn't put him on alimony, didn't sue him for the money that he misappropriated by giving to Arion, didn't do none of that. But now you want her to pay you for destroying your marriage and destroying your children's lives. That's what you want. You want a reward for that too. The thing is, Martell wants to win regardless of his actions. So when he was in school, he didn't do his schoolwork, but he still won. He still got to graduate, right? Martell didn't deserve Melody from the beginning. He didn't deserve her. He didn't earn her. He didn't work for her. He didn't deserve her. But he still won by being married to a woman who was beautiful, who was fertile, who was young, very young, 21 years old getting married, right? 22, 21 years old getting married. Okay, had no kids, ambitious and AKA. He won. Martell kept winning without doing any work. He was very lucky in that regard. But like many people who don't work for what they receive, he didn't appreciate it. He didn't appreciate Melody because he didn't have to work hard for her. He didn't appreciate his businesses because he didn't have to work for them like that. He was an employee that was treated like a co-owner. And deep inside, he knows this. He knows that he's inadequate. He feels it in his bones. But Melody gave him great cover, because as long as Melody was there, people believed the hype about who Martell thought he was, or who Martell wanted to present himself to be without actually putting in the work. Martell is a broken man looking for a woman to save him from his emptiness and lack of fulfillment, especially since his identity as a doting, perfect father, a businessman, a pillar of the community, a role model, and a husband, it has been destroyed by his own actions. So Martell's really struggling right now because, he lost everything that he identified with, that built his ego. And he thinks that by reconciling with Melody, that will stop the pain. And it won't. Because Martell clearly wasn't satisfied with the life he had with Melody. Well, I'm going to say this. He wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it too. So he wanted the streets and he wanted the stability and the respect of being one half of a power couple, right? And this is the mark of a double-minded, confused, insecure, and broken man. Martell is double-minded. Like Melody said, Martell wanted to be married and single, and then he wanted to be married and divorced. He doesn't know his ass from his elbow. And that's what happens when you have no sense of purpose. So Martell's Sun and his Mercury are in the South Node. He has to work really hard in this lifetime to build his self-esteem on his own. He can't keep looking outward to fill the void within himself. He has to build his own life and his own success and his own identity brick by brick. Okay? It's going to be hard work. And if he doesn't do that, he won't ever feel like he's accomplished anything. He will always feel insecure until he literally does the work for himself on his own. And that's the Capricorn Karma too. Capricorns, their karmic path is to build their own security. That's for all earth signs actually, right? Tauruses build security by identifying the things that they value. Virgos build security through self-sacrifice and humility. And Capricorns build security with discipline, patience, and hard work. So all the earth signs are about stability, but they all have different ways of establishing that security, okay? But anyway, yeah. Martell wants someone to hold his hand, and then when he gets to the top, he wants to act as if he did it by himself because he feels ashamed about having to use a crutch, which is a Capricorn issue. Capricorns want to be respected and revered independently, right? And Capricorns are very traditional, or even Saturnian people, not just Capricorns. Saturnian people are people with like Sun conjunct Saturn, or Saturn square the ascendant, or Saturn square the Sun, or Saturn in aspect to like the Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. These people, they are very traditional, they're very independent, and they want to be perceived as self-sufficient. They feel more respectable or they have a greater sense of accomplishment when they build things on their own by themselves. They're the ones that actually take pride in their rags to riches story. Steve Harvey is one of those people. Like, I had to work hard back in my day. You know, we had to do this and that. So they like to talk about their sacrifices, and they're proud to do that, to become self-sufficient and successful. That's something that is on their karmic path. But Martel has it on the South Node. So when someone has Sun on the South Node, their sense of identity and their strength is eclipsed. And they have to go towards their North Node to feel fulfilled and to self-actualize, right? Martel's North Node is in Cancer, which is a sign of the home and family. This is opposing his Sun, which is like the 7th house of marriage. So Martel, you know, he wanted to get married, but once he got married, he realized that it wasn't for him. There was something missing. And what was missing was him. He was missing from that relationship because he got married under false pretenses. He didn't know this at the time because nobody really knows who they are at 25, 26 years old. But he realized that marriage was not what he thought it was going to be, and that he had to find another identity to anchor himself on. So being the husband and the father and the businessman, it wasn't sufficient for him because those things do not truly reflect who he is, or he was not really living in those roles. He was putting it on like a suit, right? He put on the suit of being a good father. He put on the suit of being a businessman. He put on the suit of being a husband. That's why he's so concerned with the exterior, how things look versus its intrinsic value. Martel spends more time trying to look the part than actually be the part. I'm going to look like a good husband. I'm going to look like a good father. I'm going to look like a good, a businessman, as opposed to actually doing the work because it's too hard for him, or because he doesn't truly identify with those roles, since first of all, he didn't cultivate them on his own. And second of all, he doesn't know who he is. So he is pretending to be who he thinks other people want him to be, to get like respect and admiration and praise. But again, he didn't work for those things. And number two, he doesn't know why he's doing them. Like, why am I doing this? Right? So Martel's North Node is in Cancer, and this is the sign of the home and family. Martel feels validated by his family and his children, but because he's a Capricorn male who's traditional, he resents the idea that he may belong in the kitchen with the kids, while his wife Melody takes on the masculine role of being on the hunt as an entrepreneur. So Martel attracted Arionne because she made him feel validated in his lostness. Arionne matched Martel's frequency. Arionne also has low self-esteem, and she needs someone to validate her as well. So they're a fit. Vibrationally, Arionne and Martel are a fit. And he absolutely hates that because he sees Arionne as a peasant, which would make him a peasant too. But he can't let her go because they have a soul tie. And therein lies the rub. They're going to keep torturing each other because their shadows are compatible. I talked about this last year. I said that Martel and Melody were no longer compatible vibrationally, energetically. So they started to drift apart. Martel shifted toward Arionne because Arionne is a better match for him energetically. But Arionne reminds Martel of his struggle. She reminds him of his South Node, where he does not want to be, because Arionne has Saturn in Capricorn, where Martel's South Node is. So now you're going to have to fight with all your might. You're going to have to fight to elevate your vibration to the point where you can go toward your North Node of being a loving, caring, nurturing, a paternal figure for your children. You can't do that right now because your ego is fucked up. You're still hurt. You're still bruised. You're still insecure. So Arionne and Martel will continue to stay attached because they are each other's energetic match. If you want to break up with someone who's a soul tie, and I'll talk about this later on, you have to change your vibration. You got to change your energy. You got to change how you feel about yourself so that the person who you're attracting, who's abusing you or who doesn't love you like that, no longer has the power to trigger those deep insecurities about your self-worth. So I'll talk about soul ties a little bit later this week, probably tomorrow because it's Sunday. I'll have some more time. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you want to order a personal tarot or astrology reading, you can go to my website. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.